Hello everybody. Since my last video on the 17 to 55, I thought I would do a quick update video and just try to give you a little bit more information on what this is. Now remember that a 17 to 55 millimeter lens on an APS-C sized camera like the 7D or any other DSLR in Canon's range that's less expensive than the 7D will fit this lens. And the 35 millimeter equivalent is about 25 to 83. So really it's kind of like having the ever popular 24 to 70 f2.8 lens on a 5D Mark II. That's how versatile this lens is. It has the same constant f2.8 aperture, but this lens has optical image stabilization, which is something the 24 to 70 does not have. Now ergonomically, this lens is not as good as an L series lens, but it's not far behind. When I first got the lens, I was a little bit concerned about how the zoom felt, the ergonomics, but it has loosened up a little bit since I've used it for about 7 months now, 7 or 8 months. And it's loosened up and it feels very, very good. Not hard to turn at all, but you can set it at, say, 35 millimeters and leave it there. Carry it around on a black rapid strap or around your neck or in your hand and shake it around, and it's not going to move. It's pretty tight, even still. So very, very good. Very good for any kind of photography, landscape at the wide angle, product photography, still life, portraiture. You have to remember at 55 millimeters, that's the equivalent of about an 85 millimeter lens, and you're still getting the f2.8. So you can get a good portrait, blur that background out. The optics in this lens are outstanding. I would say they are almost equal to the L series lenses I've used. It uses a 77 millimeter filter thread, so a lot of really popular L series lenses use that, the 77, so you can swap out filters. The autofocus on this lens, I'll just turn it to infinity here. Very, very quick. This is focusing to about 3-4 feet. So you can see very, very quick focusing lens. In fact, it's probably my fastest focusing lens I have. I have a number of lenses. So very, very good. This is also a very, very good lens for shooting movies, because if you plan to zoom during the movie, it's smooth enough to where you can get it to look okay, and you don't have to worry about your aperture changing while you zoom like you do with variable aperture lenses. The focus ring here is very smooth as well. I find myself a lot of the time fine-tuning or focusing, holding it from underneath, focusing with either my thumb and ring finger, or a lot of the times just my ring finger. It's very, very nice and smooth focusing. Just very, very good. That hasn't loosened up much since I got it. It's felt good from the very day I got it. The zoom area here that you grab onto is, as you can see, probably about an inch and a half. Has very good rubbery feel to it. The focusing ring, as you can kind of hear there, isn't rubbery at all. It's kind of a harder plastic, whereas this is kind of a rubbery feeling lens. So anyway, it has an ultrasonic motor in it, as you can see there. When you take a portrait at 55 millimeters at f2.8 or f3.0 and compare that with a 18 to 55 kit lens where you had to use f5.6, there's going to be a big difference in the outcome of that picture, and the optical quality of the photo is going to be quite a bit different too. This has better glass than the 18 to 55 kit lens, much better glass, and it's just differently made. Now, I haven't seen much color fringing. There is a little bit at the lower apertures, you know, from 2.8 to maybe 3.2. There is some color fringing depending on what you're shooting and the conditions, the contrast levels. And distortion, there is some, I've noticed, you know, it's barely noticeable, but there is some distortion between the 17 and, you know, maybe 25. Between 17 and about 25, there is some distortion. Beyond that, it's very, very hard to notice it unless you're under controlled conditions doing a test on a brick wall or something like that. Be very hard to notice. So keep that in mind, that when you get this lens, you're really getting, in 35 millimeter terms, like a 24 to 70 f2.8 on a 5D Mark II. That's what you consider this lens. That's why it should be considered as one of the first lenses that people should get, and Canon should really consider just putting this lens in kits so people can have a good lens to start off with, to start off their photography with. People would be way happier with this lens. I know it's quite a bit more money, but if you're thinking about upgrading, think very hard about this lens because it's an all-purpose lens. The longer zoom ranges are going to be nice in a lot of situations, but in most situations, you're going to be happier with this range, believe me. This stays on my camera almost all the time, and I have some other very nice L-series lenses and prime lenses. So, you know, think hard about it. Very nice lens, and this is an update video on the 17 to 55 Canon EFS image stabilized f2.8 USM lens. Have a great day.